I think it goes without saying, but identity is very important in any piece of media you make. Whether it be through music, story, characters, it's really important in making your item unique and recognizable, which always makes it a tragedy when a game loses it by drifting away from what it originally once was. And I think that couldn't be more of a tragic case than the Roblox game Forsaken. Forsaken is a game that has unfortunately been on a downward spiral, losing a piece of its identity with every update, to the point that the vision of the game has almost been completely lost. But why am I making a video about this? Because I'm scared. Forsaken is one of the biggest games on the platform at the moment, and there are already so many upcoming games that take inspiration from it. Games such as Doom by Fate have already experienced a lack of identity thanks to Forsaken's incompetence. But before we start talking about Forsaken's loss of identity, I think it's best we define what that is. To me, a game's identity is the core personality of it, makes it instantly recognizable from other media, and could be described in only one sentence. Say for example, 99 Nights' identity is about surviving in the forest. Piggy's identity is surviving an animal zombie apocalypse. Doors is a horror game about surviving monsters in a hotel. These games all have consistent identities and set the expectation for the player when they join the game. You can see this in real action whenever YouTubers upload a video that's outside of their identity and get less views. But what's Forsaken's identity? What should a player expect to see when they boot up the game for the first time? Well, let's ask them. Hey Forsaken, what's your game identity?
Our game identity is an asymmetrical horror game that uses characters and themes based on Roblox history and media.
So, how did we get here? Well, during the early stages in Forsaken's lifespan, there wasn't really much. There was only the weaker characters, the old generators, maps, and a lot of placeholders. But even still, the game began to quickly grow. The gameplay was good, it had a dark epitome, and also Cool Kid. Everyone loved Cool Kid. But without a doubt, one of the most popular characters in the game at this time was Mafioso. Mafioso was a character that was based off Dream Game, another Roblox experience, which is great because that aligns with the game's identity, characters based off of Roblox media. Pair that with the pre-existing cast, and I think this game's identity and direction was pretty set in stone. It was clear that Roblox reference characters could still be loved by the community, but then Update 2.0 rolled around, and Patient Zero was unleashed. Vanity Jason and Gas Harpoon. To be fair, Gas Harpoon was in the release of Forsaken, but he didn't have any defining aspects that could have made him popular. I'm sure all of you know, but these skins were a pretty big shift to the identity Forsaken was going for. Vanity Jason was based off a Vocaloid song, and Gas Harpoon was based off a character in Limbus Company. But nonetheless, the skins were really well received, and almost instantly became the most popular characters in the game. No doubt, videos of them got millions of views. Of course, there were other skins in the update that fit within the identity, such as Rocus, Timeless, and even Champion 1X, but none of them even came close to the popularity these two skins boasted. And I wouldn't be surprised if the popularity of these out-of-identity skins led to a snowball effect to where we stand today. Oh yeah, I was right. Every second skin in this game is a reference to some other kind of media. I'm not too sure on the numbers, but there's at least 50 skins that reference things out of the pre-established identity of the game. And I get it, most skins aren't canon, but at least try to stay within your intended vision. Smile HD, Emis's Blue, Just Shapes and Beats, Earthbound, Minecraft Story Mode. Like, these are beautiful skins. I loved Just Shapes and Beats back in the day, but these are all going against the original philosophy Forsaken was following. I'm not saying that reference skins are the equivalent to Nightmare Epstein. I think it's healthy to have one or two each update for community growth, but in the state that Forsaken is treating them now, it's gotten way out of hand. Like, I have seen no one care for their Tom Elliott skin in my 10 days of playtime. So it's just there to weaken the game's identity. Why? Reference skins broaden your game to more players, sure, but Forsaken's fanbase is already notorious for being one of the worst fandoms on the internet. It's already suffering because it's overpopulated. Why are you adding so many of these? I don't get it! I'm still glad that some Roblox-based skins are still being made, such as Flash Joker 1X, Killer Kyle Slasher, Oozing Oscar John. But the thing is, none of these skins get as much love as the reference skins. The admin skin is arguably the most high quality skin in the entire game, equipped with a custom chase theme, voice lines, visuals, and some of the highest quality animations I've ever seen in a Roblox game. And my boy Oozing Oscar only got some recolored abilities. Okay, what about the Green Guest 1X skin? This skin is based off another interesting Roblox myth similar to xXthecurseXx, another killer in the game at the moment. This guy 1 fits within the game identity, looks cool as hell, and already has some pre-established information about him to expound upon. This is a perfect chance for Forsaken to shed some light on some old Roblox media. This is what they wanted to do from the start. So let's see what he also gets nothing special. No, actually, he gets less than oozing Oscar. You guys had the opportunity to bring some attention to another near-forgotten Roblox myth, and then decide that the cool kid skin based off a Vocaloid song gets custom minions, a chase theme, and a high-quality kill animation with the developer's self-insert. What was the thought process behind this? And you can't even argue that they're moving away from their previous identity, because characters such as John Doe, Slenderman, Jeff, Doombringer, and many more based on Roblox media are still coming to the game. But whatever, these are just harmless non-canon skins. It's not like they would lose another part of their identities to something like, this game is an asymmetrical horror game. Big surprise there. During the beginning of Forsaken, I'd say January to March, the music had a much darker horror feel to it, despite having a few silly chase themes. It still managed to capture the game's atmosphere of being trapped in, well, damnation. The scenario of essentially being trapped in hell where all you do is endure the anxiety of someone trying to kill you, whether having your neck snapped or waiting the timer out. The victims of the Spectre are doomed to keep going through the cycle for the rest of their eternity. And I think the old soundtrack painted this gloomy picture wonderfully. Fast forward to the present day, and is the music identity the same? No! In fact, I think it's almost the opposite than what it was on release. Don't get me wrong, the music in this game is great. There's a reason it gets praised by almost the entire Roblox cohort. But for being scary, they just suck! They just lose the feel of being chased. Like, take a listen to the chase theme for a Cool Kid's Pretty Princess skit. It sounds good, but it isn't threatening at all. And I think that can be said about a plethora of other chase themes. Now you could say that the music identity has shifted to be more listenable, but so many people love the old chase music because, well, it was chase music. Sure, it didn't sound as good, however, it wasn't made to be listened to in your free time. Its purpose is to make you uncomfortable because, well, in this scenario you would be running from your life. And I'm pretty disappointed that Forsaken has kind of forgotten about that part. In the end though, most of these are just non-canon skins with non-canon chase themes. As if the Forsaken developers would make a decision so bad that both goes against every rule they've set since the beginning, and is also a terrible addition to the story and plot for the sake of what? Relevancy? Nosferatu is the sole reason I am making this video in the first place. He is the epitome of the Forsaken developers spitting in our faces. Okay, before I start going on around, let me establish why I hate Nosferatu so much. In the months pre-Nosferatu, every single character had some correlation to Roblox media in some way. John Doe is based on a popular Roblox myth. Veronica is correlated to a popular catalog accessory. Guest 1337 is based on the notable movie The Last Guest, and so on. Every character felt like they belonged, or at least has some interrelationship with one another. No one actually used to feel out of place. Well, used to. Update 3.4.0, the Masquerade Surprise. For a little context, in the xXthecurseXx update, there was basically this battle pass where you would need to grind candy in order to buy cool skins. But there was one item that couldn't be bought. Despite the theories, the item became available in the Nosferatu update. Can you guess who it was? The addition of Nosferatu was the worst thing Forsaken has ever done. Yes, even worse than the weird strict dad skin. Any previous rules, laws, beliefs this game once had are shot in broad daylight. Okay, look, this game had a selected killer roster that led the community to believe what killer they should be expecting next. But instead, the developers decided to arbitrarily whip out a killer nobody knew nor wanted. The surprise worked, sure, but you've broken the community's trust in your development process. If Noni took 4 months to make, and xXthecurseXx took 2 months to make, and Nosferatu was made in around 3 weeks with one extra ability in mind, then what have you guys been doing? It looks like you've been slacking off. Leading up to Nosferatu, basically every killer had some lore with a survivor present or not. 1X hates Seletsky and is the manifestation of his hatred. xXthecurseXx used to be friends with Noob. Noli inspired N7 to be a hacker, and etc. But Nosferatu? He's just here, no connections, no late note, he just joined the roster and said, hey, the teacher said I'm in your group. But what is Nosferatu actually based on? As we all know, each character is based off a piece of Roblox media. Nosferatu, on the other hand, is based off of an unpopular Roblox bundle, a Hollow Knight character, and his name is taken from either an old 1920s movie or a 23-year-old SpongeBob joke. And I'm starting to think it's the latter thanks to his purchase quote.
If that was you on the phone and you on the bus, then who was flickering the lights? Nosferatu!
This is such a sharp turn Forsaken has done in terms of the character identity. And mind you, the killers are the most important part of the game. Skins were one thing, but whatever, they're non-canon and don't affect gameplay. But Nosferatu is both canon and affects gameplay. The reason people were so fine with the reference skins was because they didn't affect gameplay. But Nosferatu does, and that's why so many people, including me, quit this update. It was for this exact reason. And don't even get me started with his map. Every map pre-Nosferatu was based on some piece of Roblox media, just like the characters. And I love that they managed to keep that identity while keeping the game balanced for such a long time. But when Nosferatu came, everything went to crap. And even the map identity wasn't saved. Let me introduce you to Bloodfell Manor, Nosferatu's map. And it's actually just a map. No trace of Roblox media, no trace of anything Roblox related, and has not a single stud in sight. There is zero correlation. What was the thought process behind this? Like, you could have at least tried to make this Roblox-esque. You could have referenced a classic Roblox event in any way. You did this with your resting place, why can't you do it now? You might as well put Stereo Madness in this at this point. What does adding Nosferatu do that adding Doombringer doesn't? Move eyes away from your allegations? This update was the Forsaken devs dying on the hill that they have little to no care for the game's identity anymore. This is what happens when you mess with something as important as the killer roster in a game like this. So, what did we learn from all this? Identity in any project is not something to be tampered with and is one of the most vital parts of your game, because that's what people know and love your game for. If you stray away from that midway, it'll just make you seem careless of what the original vision was. Take for example Five Nights at Freddy's. This game franchise has been going on for over a decade now and is still very popular to this day. But why is that? It's because this franchise kept what people loved about the first game. The identity of Five Nights at Freddy's is surviving scary animatronics. That's it. And people enjoyed that concept enough to stick around for a long time. I think what went wrong with Forsaken is that they got too greedy with the reference skins and such, to the point they started messing with the killer roster. Sure, they got popular, but they sacrificed way too much for that popularity. Thanks for watching, and since everyone is quitting Forsaken now, I think it's safe to say we all are returning to Piggy. Right guys? Where are you guys going? Come back.